poor guy. 2. Oh man, this is about to get way worse for you here in a second. 3. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Rivalry Recap edition of the TNR Sports Show. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the penultimate episode of the TNR Sports Show. This is everything that this show has been up to since I created it in January, which I deserve credit. This is the moment that it's all boiled down to here at the end. It could not come down to a crazier episode that this is going to be than this one right here. And I don't know if we're going to have a greater episode. So if there's ever been an episode for you to listen to, this is the one. This is the episode. I'm excited to see where it goes. We've got a lot of stuff coming your way in this episode. Twists, turns. Ryan doesn't even know about half of them. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those notifications. We're going to keep rolling. This week's going to be sporadic. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to go with the flow with these coaching changes. We're going to keep moving forward. If there's a need for an emergency pod, we'll do an emergency pod. But I don't see the need for that just now. Just yet. So we'll see what happens. If LSU hires a coach, Oklahoma goes and steals somebody. Who knows what might happen? But I digress. Ryan, how are you doing?
Trying to process a lot of emotions right now.
Oh, don't worry.
Anger, sadness. Not a happy camper today.
Sure, yeah. All right, let's get it started, fellas. We are recording late Sunday night because I wanted to wait. And we had dinner today. Ryan was like, I don't think anything's going to happen. Oh, boy, he was wrong. Let me tell you. First of all, let's get started. Before we get too deep into things, I want to go over some records, and we'll talk about predictions and bowls. Not bowls, but you'll see. All right, so last week, I was on a hot streak this week. Let me tell you something before we really get started. I'm on cloud 9, and Ryan's on cloud 0. I'm a victorious champion. I won Rivalry Week. If there's anybody in this country that won this weekend, it was me. Because everything I wanted to, well, not completely everything. Some of the things that happened I didn't really want, but everything I pretty much wanted to happen happened. It's been a weekend, that's for certain. I had 10 picks right. That we only picked like 11 games, so that should show you how good. I think we picked 12. So I think I got Mississippi State and Wisconsin wrong. So, hot streak there. Ryan got 6 right. Obviously, some things didn't go his way. So there's your there's your rankings. Power rankings for teams. Here's your team power rankings. You got Clemson at number 1, Arkansas at number 2, Oklahoma at number 3, and South Carolina at number 4. South Carolina is bad. Clemson is very good. I think they've turned around their season completely. They won't get a lot of national attention because Dabo is hated among the media's mega heads, and but in Arkansas is going to get credit too. Oklahoma, All right, there's your rankings. Right, everything we got going on. Let's start off the episode with the hot news that had broke Sunday afternoon. I was cleaning the yard. I was getting ready to go exercise, and then unfortunately, I could not pull away from my phone. I could not pull away. Lincoln Riley of Oklahoma has decided to take the job at USC, citing that he did not want to play in the SEC because he's a major pussy. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
It sucks.
I told Ryan, I've been bringing it up in this show. I said, something might happen to Lincoln Riley. And then last night he comes out and says, I'm not taking the LSU job. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But he took another LA job.
He did.
Southern California.
Yeah. It sucks. Oklahoma really built the program around Lincoln Riley. We recruited off of what he wanted, and looks like we're going to lose all of our future recruits. Probably going to have a lot of transfers. So now we went from a program that's in its prime, winning Big 12s,
collapsing,
going to the playoffs, and now we're collapsing. We're probably going to be in full rebuild mode next year.
Wow,
so it sucks. It's kind of a betrayal. Just literally leaving after a rivalry loss. not even going to coach the bowl game.
Oh, he's not. Oh,
Nope.
I guess that would make
Bob
sense.
Stoops will be coaching the
Oh
bowl
yeah,
game.
Bob Stoops. That's right.
So it sucks. It looks like they've already reached out to a couple people to replace him, but
They had to know this was going to happen. There's no way they're moving that quickly. You think? How long do you think it's been in the works? This week?
honestly, I don't think OU knew about it until last night. I don't think they would have released the news had they won the game and gone to the Big 12 title game. I don't think they would have released the news. But yeah, I think it all kind of came together in the last few weeks. Obviously, it's a great hire for USC. They're about to get a lot of recruits, and they're good offensive mind, which works pretty well in the Pac-12. But Oklahoma's kind of been left high and dry.
It's sad for Oklahoma. It really is. I was looking forward to coming on this episode and bashing Ryan completely. And now I feel like I'm kicking a dead animal. It's not fun, You can't just beat a dead horse. That's no fun. It's sad I get it. I've been there before. Many a time. Like I said, Ryan has never truly experienced. This is reminiscent of what you're going through right now, eerily of Bobby Petrino. I know Lincoln Riley didn't get in a motorcycle crash and cheat on his wife or whatever, but in the same light,
That we know of.
in the same light, it's just a wild move for Lincoln Riley. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you look at it, Oklahoma. We can say, and I'll say what I have to say against when part of the reason now I'm thinking that they were struggling this entire season was the fact that maybe he was distracted with other things, looking to take another job, not being happy with the rumors are that he wasn't happy with the transition to the SEC. And Ryan, you're probably not gonna like what I'm gonna say here, but I kind of get it. It's hard to win in the SEC. I'd say that all the time. Would you rather be competing against Oklahoma, Baylor, and a crumbling Texas, or Alabama and Georgia? That kind of stuff does matter. It makes things a little harder.
Yeah. It might be obviously not really a blessing, but I think it could be beneficial for Oklahoma if Lincoln Riley wasn't all in on this SEC. Kind of feels if this is true, it feels like he doesn't think he has what it takes to beat the SEC. I mean, now if that's true, good riddance. Like we'll go find a coach who feels like he can win in the SEC or has won in the SEC.
I think Lincoln Riley likes to be king of the castle, right? Oklahoma has owned the Big 12 for a long time. I think I saw a stat on Twitter. You can fact check me, this listeners, but Oklahoma or Texas, this is going to be the first Big 12 championship game that either program hasn't been involved in since 1998. That ain't happening, and in the big old Southeastern Conference. You know what I mean? It's just not a part of how things work around here. We interchange teams, not as frequently as the SEC would like, probably, but you're going to be competing with LSU. You're going to compete with Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida. And those teams like Tennessee's on the rise. It seems like if they can keep Hypo away from Oklahoma, which I don't think will be that big of an issue. But when you look at it from this perspective, you're not going to be competing with, you're going to be playing against these teams, these big dogs. Things have changed. A lot of the SEC teams. I mean, how many teams are in the conference right now? 14 or 12? I don't even remember.
14, and it'll be 16 once Oklahoma and Texas.
14 teams, 13 of them are going to bowls. You know what I mean? There are no slack games in this. Arkansas had to play LSU, bad team. I mean, they had 5 stars all over the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Auburn, I mean, they've got a good football team, a great defense. How did they lose to South Carolina? I'll never understand. You got to compete with these kind of things. You're not the big dog on the block anymore. Alabama's the big dog on the block. Georgia's the big dog on the block now. LSU's going to be maybe the big dog on the block, depending on who they hire. And you still have Texas in there too. So who knows what happens there, and you still have Texas A&M is a good football team. And Arkansas is on the rise. And Ole Miss is doing good if they don't lose Lane Kiffin and Mississippi State. I mean, these teams, we cannibalize each other. It's one of our favorite things to do. So, it's a tough conference. And, I don't think Lincoln Riley wanted a part of that. He likes to be in the big dog on the block.
Yeah.
And he can go be the big dog in USC.
Oh, he can.
in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I mean,
The
and
hardest
that's
coach you're
fine.
playing is Chip Kelly.
Yeah, and that's all fine and dandy. It's kind of bittersweet, I guess. If this is really how he feels, he doesn't want to be a part of Oklahoma. He doesn't want to go to the SEC and play with the big boys. Bye. I don't.
Yeah,
Whatever.
the
Like,
big dogs.
screw you. Well, there are other Lincoln Rileys out there. I
True.
mean,
He's
if you
not the
look
end
at
of
Lincoln,
all evil.
yeah, I
He
mean, if
didn't
you look
win
at Lincoln
anything
Riley,
anyway. If you think about it, he won a couple Big 12 championships, but that doesn't seem too hard.
yeah, man, a Cotton Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, but
Yeah, they're bowls. They don't win a national championship for a program that is supposed to have national championship aspirations. He didn't win any national championships. I don't think he
that's
even
true.
made it to one.
No, almost did, but
I don't count.
um,
Clemson won a couple.
it's true.
LSU,
But
Alabama.
the coaches that they're looking at kind of feel like Lincoln Riley 2.0s. Cliff Kingsbury seems to be number one on their list. I don't know how I feel about that one. Josh Heupel, all of them are just kind of Lincoln Riley-esque, where they're just really good offensive coordinators, and you got to find the defensive coach too, who can be his second coach, the head coach, really. So we'll see who they hire. I imagine they're going to hire their next coach probably in the next week or so.
Yeah, because the recruiting period is coming up, even though Oklahoma was about to get slaughtered in that category.
Yeah, we already lost a 5-star recruit just now, and a 5-star running back. Great. So yeah, you got to find the next head coach, because people are going to start transferring. People are going to start flipping their recruits to USC. It's coming.
Sad.
So you got to get a new coach in there ASAP to start figuring out the transfer portal, bringing those players in, and recruiting.
I mean, I'm looking on Twitter right now trying to see if there's any. I hate to do this to you, Ryan. Brandon Showtime Ennis, a 5-star Adidas All-American, just said, "I'm grateful for all that God has blessed me with. After the long talk with my family, I've decided to decommit from the University of Oklahoma and open up my recruitment to all schools.
Yeah,
I'm immediately
saw
going
that.
to back. Come to Arkansas."
Yeah, I saw that. Really, Brown's about to decommit and commit to
He's
USC.
2023. These guys aren't committal. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy how it all collapsed. It literally, the building has collapsed on Oklahoma.
Yeah, one day
everything
after
that's
losing to your rival too of bullshit ref
it's
calls.
just so sad for Oklahoma.
It's not.
Sad. This is a sad time to be an Oklahoma fan. Sad. They don't get to go to the conference championship. They've got to sit home and watch Oklahoma State, Baylor duke it out, the two teams they lost to. And it's just a tough time, Sad for Lincoln, sad for Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley, what a little bitch you are. Sad. This little sad stuff. Sad for Ryan. Should we have your funeral now or later?
We'll have it later.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, we'll keep y'all updated on the Oklahoma coaching search. We're not done with Oklahoma, don't worry. Billy Napier taking the head job at Florida. So there's a couple things to discuss here. First, great hire by Florida. I really do believe this guy's a good coach from the Dabo coaching tree. I think it's a good hire. First of all, I think the story here isn't about Florida. The story here is how LSU let this guy walk. Florida, I mean, LSU has this crazy thinking about them that they think that they're the best on the block and they deserve the best. First of all, not true. Second of all, this guy was in Louisiana. He had a recruiting footprint. He was there. He would recruit Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Florida, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, the places that you need to recruit when you coach at LSU. Louisiana. And you were there and you were doing the business, and they let him walk. It's an insane decision by LSU. I think LSU deserves a ton of the blame here. I honestly believe, looking back on everything that we know now, that LSU was in the Lincoln Riley rush. And I think he might have turned them down at the end of the day. If the SEC thing makes sense, it's true. That doesn't really make any sense at all. Why would he even consider LSU if he doesn't?
I heard some rumors saying that he allowed the LSU. He liked the LSU rumors because it was like a smokescreen for the USC stuff.
Well, that makes sense. He probably
So he
did
was,
engage. He probably engaged LSU in talks just so he know he could use it as smokescreen.
yeah, and probably bargaining too to get as
Because
much money as possible. I'm
no
sure his
one,
contract's insane at USC as well.
and no one offered. No one even thought about USC. When he made those comments last night, it seems like the reporters were asking the wrong questions.
Yeah, they were.
They weren't asking about. He said he didn't say he would be staying at Oklahoma for the next 20 years. He said he was not going to LSU.
It's true.
So he took he's taking the USC job. And LSU's looking just stupid. I mean, who are they going to hire? I mean, Dave Aranda looks like he's going to sign an extension at Baylor if he hasn't done so already. And you're running out of options here if you're the Tigers from Baton Rouge. Oh, who are you going to go for?
I think LSU's really missed out here. I think they actually did try and put all their eggs in one basket for Lincoln Riley. I think some of the rumors about it could have been true. I think they probably did offer him something, trying to get him. Clearly, he's not going there. And I don't think Lane Kiffin's going there anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know if Lane's going to leave.
It's kind of like who do they even get? I mean,
Lane's waiting for Miami to open.
I think you could probably go to Alabama and get what's that guy named Bill O'Brien.
No, he's terrible.
I don't think he's that good. People seem to like him though. I don't know why.
Yeah, he's terrible. That offensive game plan
he's awful.
yesterday was god awful.
Every fan base is like, we want Bill O'Brien.
South Carolina hung like South. I don't get that. Whatever.
But yeah, I don't know who else he's going to get. They may have. I could see him maybe going to NFL. But you never know what you're going to get for that.
It's true. All right, there's that. Billy Napier going to Florida. I think great hire for Florida. I think he's a solid coach. I think he's going to be able to recruit well. I do think it'll work out for him. It's either going to be a home run or burn down quickly. I think he's a solid coach, though. I really do believe that. He took ULL, University of Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns, to 5 straight, I believe, Sun Belt championships. That's impressive, to say the least. When you look at it, he's a good hire, solid, offensive-minded, I believe.
He was Clemson's offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but coaching tree
for 2 years, and he also went through the Nick Saban coaching camp. He was at Alabama for a couple of years as a wide receivers coach.
So, I think it's a great hire for Florida, especially in a time where the Florida teams just, I don't know what they want. Mike Norvell's still employed at Florida State. Manny Diaz is still employed in Miami. So if you were looking to get in a coaching race a little earlier, Florida made the smart move here. They went for the guy who wasn't flashy. There wasn't everything, they hyped out to be. He's just a normal average Joe guy. He's not going to be this big head time guy. So, shame on LSU. Shame. Now, if they go pull Jimbo, maybe. Fun fact, Ryan, Jimbo and Kevin Sumlin, same record at this time in their careers at Texas A&M. And I think Kevin Sumlin got fired at this point in his tenure at Texas A&M as well. So I think that's worth mentioning. Jimbo just needs to beat Alabama, and they can suck the rest of the year. So that's his one thing. He's got to beat Alabama every year. So, props to Jimbo Fisher for beating Alabama, but shame on LSU for not doing something. Dave Aranda would still be a really great hire, but I just don't know if he's going to leave Baylor at this point.
I'm hearing that he's pretty content at Baylor.
And why would you go to LSU? Pressure.
Apparently, he doesn't like how big and flashy it is. He likes that Baylor is he's a quiet guy. He's not loud. He wants to coach, and he likes that about Baylor. He can just coach.
Coach O and Jimbo Fisher also had the same record in the SEC in their times together.
Yeesh.
Fun fact for you. Now LSU hasn't been as good these past couple years, but they did have that season in 19 where everything went crazy.
At least they got a nice championship out of it.
So I think it seems all pretty obvious now that Lincoln Riley was the bet there. We'll keep you updated on those coaching searches. I'm going to keep it rolling here. Sad for Ryan, and it's about to get a little sadder. We're going to go Oklahoma State Bedlam. Ryan, I'm just throwing these punches early, so you get it out of the way. You're done after this. This is it for you. Oklahoma State. The score was 37-33. Ryan will blame it on the refs. I will blame it on your players making some dummy mistakes. Oklahoma's players also made some dummy mistakes. You look at the whole game package. Oklahoma didn't score an offensive touchdown. Ryan told me today in the second half. Not good. Um, you know, fumble by Caleb Williams. A kickoff return fumble, if I'm right.
Punt. Punt return.
Yeah. And just
Both for punts.
oh yeah, Oklahoma muffed a punt. And then
Oklahoma State and
Oklahoma State
Oklahoma.
muffed a punt as
Yeah.
well. In the same spot.
Yeah.
Crazy. Um, Ron, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first. Why not? So it was a really back and forth game. It was a good game. Kind of like I said before the game, it was going to be a coin flip who was going to win this game, and it was kind of right. Just very back and forth. It started out very offensive, kind of like old time Bedlam shootout kind of thing, and then the second half just got really defensive. Couple of mistakes from both teams. Just very back and forth, weird game. Cowboys did come out on top. I really feel like I'm not even going to look at all the penalties missed because there's a lot of them, and I don't feel like going through all of them. The one I will say is the last one. I think that was the most egregious. It's clearly a pass interference, and if they had called it correctly, which it should have been pass interference, everyone agreed, even the announcers, who are Ohio State and Bama fans. It just kind of shows you. The ball would have been placed at the 1 yard line, and Oklahoma would have won. So I kind of do blame the refs. You played well enough to be in the game, and then, you miss a call. You missed several calls, but you missed that one is the one that put the nail in the coffin. But doesn't really matter anymore. Oklahoma State won. They're going on to the Big 12 title game to play Baylor. Hope they win.
Wow. Sad. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. I watched a little bit of this game. I watched a lot of the highlights and such of that nature. Seeing the penalties, I know what he's talking about. Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. I've been saying it all year, and I'm going to say it this one time, and then I'm done talking about Oklahoma for a while. Oklahoma had been who they were all year long. They hadn't been no better, and they hadn't been no worse. They were always the same. They were the same from day one as they were from day, whatever the day is. I don't like too many days from the end. I thought at the end of the day, when you look at Oklahoma, I think this game's more about Oklahoma State than it was about Oklahoma. Oklahoma, and Ryan will hate when I say this, but Oklahoma hadn't been that good this year. They struggled against subpar opponents all year long, and when they finally played the big three, they struggled. Lincoln Riley said in his press conference last night, you see what happens when you go on the road. Both Oklahoma's losses and Oklahoma State and Baylor's losses were all on the road. Baylor lost at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma lost to Baylor, and Oklahoma State, who they lose to again?
Oklahoma State, they lost to Iowa State
on the road. So I think at the end of the day, Oklahoma was a little humbled this season. This wasn't an Oklahoma team that we look back on a couple of years when we say, oh man, this wasn't one of the great Oklahoma teams. It just wasn't. And the Big 12 got better this year. They've got better coaching going on. Oklahoma State's rebounded. Oklahoma State's offense looked pretty good last night, considering how bad Ryan's bashed them. Oklahoma's defense was non-existent, which is just wild.
In the first half, which not everyone were, but.
And Oklahoma, so Ryan's always right about that Oklahoma defense and offense not clicking at the same time. They both had good game plans for each other, and like he said, it was a coin flip. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't their year, and we all saw it. We all saw what they were. I mean, it was obvious that there was a struggle bus year for them. 10-2 still pretty good. Down year, I mean, it just wasn't
worse.
Yeah, true. They'll still go to a pretty decent bowl game. They'll probably lose it, but at this point, sorry, Ryan, their players will probably all be gone. But it's a bad weekend if you're an Oklahoma fan. Bad weekend for you. Rough. They didn't pull any punches. Lincoln Riley exits. You lose to your rival, possibly the last one, um, last battle, especially if the Texas Oklahoma roll over next year. Um, it's just sad for Oklahoma fans this week. Oklahoma State, I picked Oklahoma State in the game. I thought they're going to win with it being at home at night. Kind of proved to be right. They got a little home cooking. So that kind of helped them. And, I felt the crowd was effective as well. So, it's just tough for Oklahoma. It's been a tough time for them. It's just a tough couple days for Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams might be leaving. Spencer Rattler's definitely leaving. Um, he just couldn't get the news out quick enough to beat Lincoln Riley, so he's probably going to wait a couple days now. Um, there's no good sight for Oklahoma here. I've been there before, man. I get it. You just feel defeated. There's no good in the world. I've been there before. It's sad. Been there for many a year. Hopefully it won't happen.
No, they just announced it.
Who? Oh, USC just announced it.
USC, yeah.
Live on the podcast, we're seeing USC announce to the world that Lincoln Riley is the new head coach of the Trojans. He's king of LA now. He's not a bad-looking guy. He's got a big ego. He's going to fit well out there.
Great hire for USC. Yeah. I mean, you don't need a whole lot of defense to win the Pac-12.
Exactly. You don't need a lot of nothing out there. And he's going to recruit well. He's going to bring those.
Amazing, yeah. All the Oklahoma recruits are going to go over there.
If you can go to California or you can go to Oklahoma, which one do you pick? Probably Oklahoma, but that's beside the point. Lincoln Riley picked. He leaves them high and dry. You lose to Oklahoma State. That might be the last one in the rivalry ever. Not ever, but I'm sure y'all play again one day. It's unlikely that it continues in the SEC, though, just like it canceled out with Texas. It's sad for Oklahoma. I feel bad for them. I really, really do. It's sad. Are you sad, Ryan? Oh, man, what a rough day. Good thing, it's all right, man. Like I said, been there before, done that. You can't all be on cloud nine like me.